million has been borrowed. There's the issue of the teachers' employment. We've created employment. The first lot was 20,000 teachers, which has not happened in this country within a short period. At the same time, we have 35,000 teachers who are now undergoing the process of the employment. That will be a total of 55,000 for crisis. InfoTrack is not reporting that. The other issue is on the agriculture issue. We've talked about the fertilizer issue. They are not coming and saying these are the number of people that have been able to benefit from this fertilizer, the subsidy fertilizer that the government has given. They are not discussing on those
the government has not commissioned them to do that.
But you see, as much as they are coming to try,
that will be conflating a lot of issues and losing track of your survey. They wanted just to get the general feeling of how Kenyans are feeling about the cost of living. That was the main question. And so if you conflate all those issues, I think you'll lose your target of what you really want to achieve. But from your own assessment and what they're saying here, that 93% of Kenyans are feeling the country is not headed in the right direction. And they're saying here that Kenyans feel that poor leadership is a key reason for country's current economic situation. Do you fly with that?
No, of course I do not agree with that completely. And that's why I'm saying where Kenyans are feeling it is because, one, further to that, as much as we accept that the cost is high, but again, it's being drained further down because of the mandamano that is in place. And Kenyans, they talk about, yes, they are questioning the leadership. What is the leadership doing? We've stated earlier, we've had the formula for the bipartisan talks. Did it work? It has not worked because the same opposition pulled out. The same opposition was not comfortable with the discussions because you realize what was on table is their own personal issues, because when they start saying open the servers, do this, we are going back and we are past the election period. So Kenyans have a right to be able to question the leadership, but the truth needs to be told. That where is the problem? Why can't the opposition let Dr. William Ruto run the country? He's the elected president of this country for the next 5 years, and he has tried to bring in talks through bipartisan. It is not working. They have said they are going to the streets. They have destroyed property. Kenyans are not happy. At the same time, we have brought, the government has, this last week, they put the police to be able to protect the Kenyans and to be able to protect their properties. They are now complaining, and they are now retrieved to be able to re-strategize on their formula. And that's why we are telling them, for us to be able to soldier on, because at the end of the day, this is our own country, let there be a discussion of what are the timelines, what is going to be achieved, because so far we have been able to achieve the things that have been able to mention. And up and include, not forgetting the feeding program in the schools that was also in our manifesto. So Kenya Kwanza has been able to achieve. They should be able to say, even the InfoTrack and any others that the survey companies, they should be able to also analyze what we promised versus what has been able to achieve, because the narrative that they're just going to, they're trying to focus on is the cost of living narrative. But it's not going to be sorted by putting sufurias on our head, by banning what we've built all along in this country. It is not going to work at all. How then, if we are paying taxes and we are feeling that the taxes are at this level, how do we ensure that we are going to enjoy the services that the government is going to provide with the amount of taxes that we are paying as Kenyans? Kenyans also need to enjoy. How do you accept them to pay and also subject them to have an peaceful environment to be able to do their business and to be able to work? It becomes uncomfortable even to live. It becomes so disturbing because they cannot be able to run daily on their own businesses. In Nairobi here, we've been losing over 50 million a day, both commercial losses and physical losses, because maandamano has been pronounced and people are afraid of being able to go to their areas of their living on each and every day. Companies are equally being affected because people have staff, they have employees to be able to pay. Transport becomes a challenge and all that. Why? Because the opposition is pronounced. We tell the opposition, be the opposition to check, be the check for the government in terms of what have you been able to achieve. Can we be gauged on that? Can we be looked into that in terms of where are we in those months? What has been achieved? Why is that not being done? Why is the survey focusing just on one area in terms of this is the feeling? Why are not they looking at what is causing that? The question of the why. What is bringing this? The what factor? What is bringing this number to be at this? Why can they go deeper and give us the deeper analysis of the issues that are making Kenyans not to be happy? Why can they go further to that and pronounce the issues that are also being brought by the opposition. Because what they're trying to also instigate is then the government is not doing. The government is not just Kenya Kwanza alone. Even these members, they are also paid by the same taxpayers' money. It is their responsibility to give the right direction. It is their responsibility as the representatives of the people, which is our first mandate, to be able to sit and represent the people in the right way. Why do you want to represent the people in the streets? My brother Owen has clearly said, these things can only be managed and discussed in Parliament.
Right, thank you.
Okay.
Owen,
I want to say...
you want to respond
I want to spend on the
survey?
On the survey. One, the question that we need to ask, and these guys should have asked, is had Raila Odinga been president, would this have been different in terms of the cost of living as we are right now? You know, when you are analyzing economic issues, you look at trends. Trends, how the cost of unga has been going over a several number of years. What has the trend been? Okay. And is there a point on the trend that it has been a drop or not? How has the graph been over the years since Uhuru Kenyatta's time? How has it been going? Two, when you're analyzing something like this as you know, from an economic point of view, there's a lot of things that this InfoTrack survey did not pick or they hid under the carpet. Because if today we had another president, just supposing we had another president, would the cost of unga, would it have gone down? Under what formula? Uhuru Kenyatta's formula did not work, the one of subsidy. You know, the one of subsidy. Because what we did was to look at subsidy as a way of managing a crisis. Yeah, unga is 200 shillings. But we say, okay, you see, because I'm a very generous philanthropic, president, you know, so what I'll do is you will buy the unga at 100, but government will pay for you the other 100. But where is this 100 coming from? It is coming from our taxes. So we remove the 100 shillings from the taxes and add to this so that we pay the trader the 200 when you bought the unga at 100. So if I have taken this 100 from the taxes, what happens? Or I do not want to tax the people to get back this money. So what I do, I'll go to China and borrow the 100 shillings. So what happens to the public debt? The public debt increases. So what happens in the future? Are we going to continue to pile and pile and pile this debt? Somehow someone will have to pay. At what time do you stop? So I say, let me stop the subsidy. I remove the subsidy. If I remove the subsidy, so now this gentleman buys the unga at 200 at cost. 200, he pays the 200. So what I've done, I've eliminated the whole of this other chain. So what I'm doing is I am removing the date. Now this date has interest. I paid 100 shillings for you here, but I will pay the date at 120. Okay, depending again on how the dollar looks like. If the dollar goes up and all that, then I come and pay probably 1,000 shillings for something that I subsidized for you for 100 shillings. Okay, so did we want to continue on that trend as a country? Or we say, let's stop this subsidy economy. This subsidy economy has hurt this country very much. And therefore, that is why Kenyans are saying, oh, we are feeling the pain. But because, you know, we have, Waswahili will say, mapanya huuma akivivia. I don't know whether you understand that. Panya huuma akivivia. Such that, you know, tunakuvivia, tunakuuma huku chini, lakini tunakuvivia hapa. So we think life is okay. Yeah. But where are we taking the country?
So you're biting while blowing.
Yes. Where are we taking the country?
I know it better in Luo. So
yes. Where are we taking
it in Luo?
Uyeka itukudi.
Uyeka?
Uyeka itukudi.
Yes.
And it blows.
Yes. Now, but this guy is saying, no, me, I don't want to do that. Let me bite you once and correct issues. Yes. And so that we say, let's put the country, this country, if it wasn't for the kind of things that William Ruto has done to stop this subsidy, and this subsidy was just theft of public money. People are saying, okay, let's look at fuel, for example, because we are talking about 18% VAT on fuel and say it has gone up. Fuel, when Uhuru Kenyatta left office, was around, how much was it, 150? Mm-hmm. Yes, around 150. So we were paying 150. But government comes back and pays the other 8%, because Jikal didn't tell you when it was negotiated what happened to the other 8. The other 8 was still payable. But who was paying it? The government. because these guys would now claim, the input VAT. They would claim the input VAT of 8%. So who was still paying that 8%? Even the person who didn't have a car was paying the 8% VAT, because it is an input tax, input VAT, and therefore it has to be paid back to the fuel merchants. They still got the 8% at the end of the day. So who was paying? Even the Mamamboga down there who doesn't own a car was paying 8% on behalf of this guy Nyekal, who owns a car. William Ruto says, no. Those who own cars, let them pay their own. But the ripple effect is this, that there are people who own cars and people who don't own cars, but when fuel goes up, of course, everything else goes up. But then the question is, when were we going to stop that subsidy on fuel? Uhuru Kenyatta tried it. He tried it. You remember when there was no fuel in this country, and fuel prices were going to. I think there's a time when the ARP, the Fuel Regulatory Authority, had tried to put energy regulator had tried to put fuel at a certain price, but he said no. I don't know whether you remember that. It got back to where it was supposed. But the economies at that time and the trends at that time was that fuel needed to go up. But he said, no, fuel will not go up. So what will we do? We will subsidize. Today, those marketers have not even been paid that money, and that money disappeared. So who was paying for that fuel, for that 8%, and the difference between what ARP had given and what we were actually buying the fuel at? It's a false economics. You have fuel at 150. It's supposed to be increased at to 200. You tell them, no, don't increase to 150. So what to 200? Retain it at 150, but government will pay you the difference.
Yeah, but no, just to allow me to butt in. We can actually, yes.
I'm waiting.
Yeah, waiting. Yeah. So the thing is, yes, we agree. Subsidy will not be the wisest of fashion to treat it.
Yes.
As far as the economy is concerned.
Yes.
But how do you come in as a government and you just pull the rug off like that? Because you plunge the country into such a shock like we are right now. Look at what is happening in Nigeria.
Yes.
We've had Tinubu coming to power.
Yes.
He did the same stuff that now we've had Kenya Kwanza administration doing.
Yes.
Clearing off.
That is what every president is doing.
Yes.
In Africa.
But where is Nigeria?
Not different.
Where is Nigeria? It's in a food crisis, and it had to call a state emergency right now.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. The question will be, why can it be truncated? Do it in phases, so that at least you say panya na uma na huko avuvia. At least anavuvia pole pole, you don't feel the same effect. So that now we don't have people in the streets.
We also have a saying in my place that say, dawa ya jipu ni kulitoboa. You know a boil.
We agree.
Dawa ya jipu ni kufanya nini?
Yes. Okay, I'll tell you that.
Yes, dawa ya boil, when you have a boil, is you must prick it and squeeze it hard for you to heal. If you continue to massage it, it will continue to pain.
Yes.
That is what this administration is doing. This artificial economy that we were running. We were running on a very artificial economy. Everything is not real. When we go to the pump price and buy fuel, the pump station and buy fuel, we are not buying it at the real price. When we go to the market to buy unga, we are not buying it at the real price. We had become kind of a socialist state, but socialist states in this world have failed. And this is a fact. And we were pushing this country to a state where it was going to die.
But
Tanzania, for example,
isn't the housing levy also akin to a socialist state?
No, I'll come to that. I will come to that. You see, Tanzania, during Mwalimu Nyerere's time, and when Mwalimu Nyerere left, he said, I made a mistake. He admitted, I made a mistake. So what mistake did he make? He chose a socialist path for his country. The USSR flopped. It was a socialist state. Everything was provided for by government. It failed. Why has America survived? Why is it the biggest economy? Because it is purely capitalist. And therefore, it has taught its people to work hard. It has, in America, if you buy things at $1, if you buy a samosa at $1, it is actually the cost of the samosa, at real money. Not this paper money that we are trying to have in this country. So for me, Debal, it is hard now as a country, and we acknowledge that. But we are saying we have better days ahead. Better days because this economy will become a real economy, not the artificial. Look at schools today. Today, we say, charge, how much money fees do they charge? Let's say 15,000 shillings per day scholar. But that is what you're charging at school, high secondary school, 15,000 a year. But what is the real cost of a student being in that school? Today, when you have the cost of one bag of maize, one bag of wunga, but you're telling the school, you know, I had this discussion with some of my principals. He says, Mheshimiwa, how are we going to run this school? Because government is telling us we must charge a certain amount of fees. But today, the cost of books, the cost of unga, the cost of beans has gone up, but still we are charging. Then you look at it in real terms, what is it that we are doing? The schools are running into debt. You just need to look at how schools are being run. You have a school that 15,000, but the cost of keeping that student in that school is 30,000. You have schools there, it's 30,000, but you still pay 15. So what happens? Every student accumulates a debt of 15,000 over years. Will that school be viable? It will not. So what do we do as a country? Do we want to continue on that path so that we can fail as a state, or we want to rescue this country? The rescue package is painful, but the future is good. And that's what we need to look at when we are analyzing. When you look at these guys, when they talk about the Finance Act, you know, the Finance Act is bad. I looked at it, they say, you know, 75% of Kenya, the Finance Act is bad. Then I asked myself, so what is the Finance Act? What is the package called Finance Act?
Right.
What is it? That package
let's say from
called Finance Act. Okay. What is it?
You know, the survey was about what people feel.
Yes.
Don't argue about what people feel.
Yes.
That is what they feel.
Because they have given the people the fodder.
Let him have it.
Yeah, so that is what they feel. They have gone ahead and told you why they feel the way they feel. 75% has blamed it on the president, yes, the way he's handling the country. Mm-hmm. That's something we need to address. 59% believe that they feel the cost of living is the worst thing, and because of fuel. Then 59% they think it is the finance bill. They doubt the efficacy of the
finance bill has not even been implemented.
Now, yeah. I'm telling you what people feel. So 73%, they do not support the act. Now, this runs parallel to me. If you looked at yesterday's paper, I think both the Nation and the Standard, there were people who are randomly questioned. Yeah. And all of them said one thing: listen to the people. All of them. All the people said, listen, including the hustlers, they're saying, listen to the people, listen to the people. So what...
The TIFA report as well is not diametrically different from what Infotrack is reporting as well.
Yes.
The country is headed in the wrong direction according to them. So
yes.
Those are two different polls.
Sir. So listen to that. But then you quickly move. So for me, what they're saying is what people feel. Now you people are not interacting with people. We are interacting with people more during this mandamano. What you hear, what you see here is what you hear people telling you. This is how they feel. The cost of living is high. The cost of fuel. Now you say something that really a bit shocked me. That Mama Mboga doesn't have a car, so the cost of fuel does not affect her. Who transports the bread that she buys? Who transports her mboga from her shamba to the market?
But I made a statement on that.
Who everything she does.
I say the
people with cars, it is directly on their movement. But everybody else is severely affected by the cost of transport. If you go into production, diesel in production is huge. It will affect the price of things. So everybody knows, at least, maybe when my formula, what as you said I missed, was to say, get a group of experts. You have people like me who I really trust. Are you people listening to them? I get the impression sometimes that either the experts are not being listened to, or they are not saying. People like me, I would think, is he saying what he used to say, or is he not being listened to, or you have brought other experts who are sycophants, who are muzzling those who have the thing. Because again, all these things you are saying should be done. You have had 1 year. If the formula you are telling us, what the things you are telling us should have worked, they should have worked in 1 year. And you've been told in Nigeria the same thing was there. This thing of panya anakoma na anafanya nini? Anavuvia. These are also reality of life. You told me in medicine, we say ibi pus, ibi evacua. Where there's parts, remove the parts.
Yes.
But also in medicine, we also know. I'll give you an example. When people have been starving, you don't go and give them a huge ugali and meat. They will actually serve. You start giving them small amounts of it. Generally, in nature, you don't make big moves at once. People suffer. So these big moves you are making, this taxation, let me call it the Shakahola principle of taxation, where you say you must suffer now, just starve and pray, you die, you will go into heaven. You are telling Kenyans, suffer now, pay tax, you die, but after you, we are going to have a very nice economy and we will enjoy in heaven.
No, we cannot allow Daktari to take us on that path.
We cannot finish. Today is actually alone. That Mazda was a no-show.
So that thing we don't. So you need gradual arrangement. Now, this thing of welfare state, capitalist state and socialist state, it died. What people are now moving at is welfare state. A welfare state is a state where it is capitalist in the economies, but a lot of public service is actually paid for by the government. There are countries, maybe like Sweden, where the tax is maybe as high as 70%. But everything you do, you get public transport, public schools, public health. So the principle of capitalism and socialism, it is not there. We are talking of a welfare state where the tax is used to improve the welfare of the people. You support the people in production, the capitalists, they produce, and then they do so that you talk of the US. The US, you may think, is actually doing well, but I can tell you the health indices in the US is worse than in Cuba. So you are more likely, if you're a poor person, to die in the US if you have an emergency illness than in Cuba. So you're not going to take us to a country where a very few people are very rich and the country is doing well, but the majority are not. So what we need to do, listen to what these people are saying. When everybody is screaming the same thing, turn around and listen to them, even if you think you are right. And what we are doing with Mandamano, we are the people shouting. What they are saying here is what we are shouting for you in the street. Please look here. Please look here.
Don't shout in
this
the
is
street.
going
Did
on.
you hear anybody
This
shout in the streets?
Yeah.
We only see stones flying.
Exactly.
We only see people running. We only see tires being burned.
We
see the expressway. The expressway being damaged.
No.
You know, that is what we hear.
Who is killing more people in Mandamano? The demonstrators are the police.
I don't want to go into the depths. What I'm
then
saying,
let's leave that.
we want to hear them come to parliament.
I think
this country is a democratic state.
Had he finished?
Yeah.
What I think, the information from Infotrack is actually giving the true feeling of the people. And this is what we in Azmio actually support. And we may be saying it in a way they don't like, but this is what we are saying.
Okay. We need to wind up there because we have party politics also to handle a bit.
Let me mention this.
Before you want to chime in on still the Infotrack.
On the Infotrack. Just kidogo too. Just very.
The Shakahola thing.
You cannot Shakalarize this country.
This issue of the fuel, the 16%. Let me tell you, even if it was an additional 1% from 8 for it to be 9 or from 8 to 10. Still, as we are always looking for narratives, they will still be there on, it has moved here, and well explained that the government has still been paying the 8%, then it totaling to 16%. Then I go back to the percentages. Doctor, I go back to these percentages of the 15% that believe that the country is going in the right direction, the 75, the 59, the 59, the 73%. As a student of mathematics, then I thought percentages are maximum of 100. 100.
No.
Just hold on, I'm on the floor.
I'll now do you the mathematics of that. The statistics.
So,
that
looking at this survey and totaling this, it gives me a total of 281. So how is 281 a percentage? I need just to
statistical mathematics
understand in terms of all this, because it has to be
then Nikal has your answer. Nikal has your answer.
I'll give you
a percentage.
Nikal,
yeah, the answer is simple. When you are doing a thing like this, you are giving a percentage on every item. So when we ask you, what do you think fuel? What do you think is causing this on fuel? Then people.
Just wait.
So we say fuel. So you ask about fuel, right?
Yes.
And they tell you, okay, 59 will tell you it is fuel.
Yes.
Then it means 41 are saying it is not fuel. So that becomes 100. Then you go to another item. That item is governance. So you think it is because of the president, then they say no. 73% thinks it is, and 27 say no. So for that one, so the percentage is for each item. You don't put all of them.
And that
is a different analysis.
So if actually now looking at the fuel factor, 41% is a very big number. According then to the feedback, and you brought it very well. Then 41 is agreeing. It's looking at the difference between 59 and 41. That is 18%. So we have an 18%. That is just
no argument with that.
But
I just say
is giving you a ballpark.
Yeah, it's okay, but point home
that's
as far as the fuel issue is concerned.
To demonstrate.
We have been paying 16% all through. We have been paying 16% all through.
And that is a fact.
I'm beginning to think. Let me tell you something. Debal. Even these things I take about economics, I'm not an economist, I'm a doctor. But when we sit with our people with economists and they explain these things, you start to get, your economists don't seem to be getting these things right. When you see, when the government pays, you know the economic recovery strategy, where you actually putting money. You know, sometimes the government will take money and actually put it in business to actually get things moving. It will start generating employment. It will start generating business.
Economic stimulus.
It is economic stimulus. So when subsidy sometimes is an economic stimulus, I'll tell you one, because this one I've done myself. When you deal with cash transfers, when Lula did it, and people thought like this, that when you just give people money to go and buy food because they are poor, that actually it is a consumption. What was discovered and what is now known is that when you actually give them money, they start buying things. And when they buy things, they stimulate the economy. I'll tell you, when I was...
that is correct.
Yeah. So when the government was putting money in fuel, this one, they were serving everybody. And this one was going direct to actually to stimulate the economy.
Right. I think we
that
belabored
is
the point.
An acceptable economic principle.
So
right. So I want us to gravitate just
subsidy.
Then what you do again? Let me just finish. No. Again, there is somebody who I think has overcome me in this. There is in the whole world, it's called something the Gaussian curve.
Yes.
When you do something, as you keep increasing, it has good effect.
Yes.
It reaches a optimum level than now. So that even if you increase the fuel, the cost of the fuel taxes, you increase taxes, you get more and more revenue. It reaches a point when you will now not get
a deflection point.
Yes.
Yes.
And this is what I remember.
Thank you.
Don't increase taxes. Increase the base and collect more.
And collect more.
And be efficient. But do not increase the amount of taxes on individuals.
But you've just said a statement, increase the base. Did you hear that, Owen?
Yes.
Increase the base.
Okay.
That is the whole discussion.
All right, let's leave it at that. I think I want us to get to the party politics.
I want to say one thing. I want a reaction to what he said. You see, the question is, I like that point. It's a very good point. But I want to tell you this.
Take it home to those advisors.
Where
you will actually benefit. If I go there,
okay.
Where
they do very well. A bit of decorum.
Where do you put the subsidies is what it matters. In consumption, it has worked in consumption. But also you put it in production. But then you select, what do we do? Today, the bumper harvest that will be experienced, even in my county, is an attestation of what good subsidy program does. The fuel, my governor, apart from the president's program, my governor did this. He bought seeds for farmers and said, I want everybody to increase tillage of land by this number of acreage, but I will give you the tractors. Give them the tractors. They increased, everybody increased by 1 acre, 1 acre. He gave them seeds. Then he said, I want, you don't have fertilizer, I will give you fertilizer. Okay? Because I do not want this county to be a food insecure county. And I want you for the first time not to just have maize for consumption. I want you to actually, after you have harvested, you have enough to eat and enough to sell. That has worked. For the first time, Kilifi is going to have a very good bumper harvest and is going to reduce the poverty levels. The president had a similar program. The cost of unga is not for you to go there and demonstrate and tell the president to reduce. Tell the president we want subsidy for seeds, we want subsidy for fertilizer. The problem of the people at the lake is not for them to put sufurias. How do we increase the catch from the lake? Tell the president we want nets, we want fishing gear, we want things that can help production. But you will say, okay, I will help you in this and that. But if you want to go to sea, if I subsidize this fuel for you, the dollar will kill us because we have to pay more. So we can agree, I give you subsidy on this, but allow me on the fuel to do one or two things. So that welfare state that we're talking about, I'm coming to your welfare state. That welfare state that we're talking about.
The definition of subsidy of consumption
and production. Yes, is something that these people...
I'm getting the point, Dibal.
Let him finish so that we can actually wind up with this here, please.
Yeah. So what we need in this country is to look at what are the growth areas, the areas of growth. This country is still purely an agricultural country. Correct. It is in agriculture that industries are built in this country. It is in agriculture that employment is created in this country. Still, it's in agriculture that we still earn our highest foreign exchange. We are net exporters of agricultural products. And that is where we get our foreign exchange. So what is the president's program? The president's program, and this is economics also. He says, you have one cow. That cow gives you 10 liters because the cost of feeds for the cow is high. So what do? We reduce the cost of feed so that you make some money here. But give the cow some more food, it gives you 20 liters. Okay? With 20 liters, we will open a dairy. If everybody has 20 liters, we will open dairies. And those dairies will employ people. And from those dairies, we will make money. We are expanding the tax base. We'll make money. When we make money, the people will pay income tax. So the economics is right. What we need to do, and this is William Ruto's economics, increase production in this country. When we increase production in this country, these issues that we are facing as a country will come down. But where is the pain? The pain will be here, the pain will be here. Nakudunga sindano, you're a doctor. That sindano will be painful as I inject, but it's gonna heal you.
So thank you. I'll finish very quickly. 1 year with this good economics, where's the result?
We
have just launched our finance bill. The first finance bill and our first budget.
No. So let's just say 1 year. 2,
our government is not measured by the time.
Subsidy, you don't always think that fuel is a consumption subsidy.
Yes.
Remember, fuel,
it is diametrical. It is both.
Fuel goes into production in a huge way.
Yes.
Fuel moves goods. Fuel moves traders. It's not a consumption. And you have also come and said, when you decide where to put taxes and then there will be pain, you must address the pain. When we are going to operate on you, we know operation is painful. We give you anesthesia.
And that is what we are doing.
So now, when people are suffering, do something that addresses their suffering.
All right.
You need to put this guy back in the theater, not in politics.
1 second. When he says do something on the issue that affects their pain. So then I asked very quickly, so does maandamano then reduce the pain or it increases the pain? And number two,
I'll answer that also.
Wait, on the issues that he's asking, what have we done? What have we done? 1 year, what have we done? Finance business is a very big achievement for us. That is one of the products. Then we have the Hustler Fund. We've talked about this agricultural subsidy, the fertilizer subsidy. We are going to have a very bumper harvest very soon. There's employment I've talked about, and there's also the feeding program that so far we've been able to. Why are you people not acknowledging all these?
Look at that info tract about employment. The info tract.
But we've stated. Why is info tract not bringing out the teachers' employment? Can they go look at what issues that we are saying has been done that now has not been done? Can they look at that survey?
As we stated, they were not really commissioned to do that.
But we want them now to come and do that. They should look at that.
Okay. So the party politics as well, just briefly, because now we have new entry from ODM to
the ruling
UDA,
party.
And also there's disciplinary action as well that begins today, ODM.
Yes.
Some of these rebels that you say they've not really told the line, they were speaking the minds of the floor of the house so far. And it seems now if you speak your mind, you're not really towing the line of the party, then you're in danger. Where is inter-party democracy within ODM?
Well, it is not just what you do in the house. It is also how you conduct yourself. Like if they'll tell you that when we were with him in ODM, we people agreed and we said this is the line we're going to do, and that time it was Tanga, and we agreed this is the line we are taking, that's the line they'll take, and we came to a house and agreed. Now, if you're in a situation, Dibal, where certain members actually totally rebel, it's not discipline. You are merely asking them, if you do not agree with the way we see things, it is better to then decide where you want to go. And I think I'm not a member of the disciplinary team. I do not know what questions they are going to be asked. I do not know what sanctions they'll be put to. But I think when members so obvious disagreement, complete disagreement, it is better to look back and say, okay, guys, what is it that you take? So I can't know what they're going to do, but I think in any organization, whether it is military, whether it is civil, whether it is political, whether it is religious, if there are agreed tenets, even in the law it says behaving in a manner that does not reflect the position of the party, you will be deemed. Now, that's a weak law that was done, which is probably the issue. It was written so that people can behave in a way that is not in line. Working in unison is important. We're obeying the decisions of any organization is important. So the way, I'm not in the disciplinary committee, but I believe that it will be seen in the context, and they'll be asked. And the fact that they are actually being asked to explain themselves is actually democratic. If then it was just announced that from now on, so and so, so and so, so and so are not members, because I think that would be the worst situation.
Thank you. All right.
You know, he has never sat in a neck. I've never seen him in a neck.
Yes, I've said that I'm not in that.
I have sat in the. I used to be the deputy organizing secretary of ODM.
Tell us how you were doing it.
I have sat in the party, neck at disciplinary. You know, I've sat when my let his soul rest in peace, my friend Dory was being disciplined, and Aisha Juma was disciplined, and some MCAs from Nyanza were being disciplined. I sat in those things, and let me tell you, democracy does not exist there. Because there is even a party position in those NEC. What is the party position? These guys must be thrown out. And that is what will be declared. And anybody, even within the NEC, who brings any other reasoning will be told you're also not towing the party line. So, my friends, I can tell you what Esther Passaris and the others are going to face when they go for that is an unfortunate thing, because a decision has already been taken. One,
the ban,
to
you can't let that pass.
Let me finish.
Yeah. But they will be de-whipped, probably. I remember what Aisha Juma went through and what Dori went through in those party disciplinary meetings. You know, everybody comes there. The decision is that the party leader wants this. What does the party leader want? He wants them out. So the chairperson and all other members will be inclined towards that. I remember after one meeting, I was called into the chamber by the deputy party leader. And I was told, why aren't you following what the party leader said? I said, but I bring my brain here. So I want to know, why are we disciplining these people? Do they have a right to go to parliament and vote the way they are voting? Because apart from the party, I have my people who also sent me. You know, I was sent to parliament by the people of Kilifi North. That is one. Although I belong to a party. And party discipline is very important. Party discipline is very important. And towing party line is not, is good. It's important. But there are times when you need to juggle between what the party is saying, what your conscience is saying, and what your people are saying. And that is how a politician needs to be formed. You will be judged by the decisions you make in the United States. The decision you make on the floor of the House will haunt you. It will be your record for many years. The party will not call you and say, why did you take a different position on this? But they will keep record of you. So when you come to ask for a seat next time, oh, and I voted for finance bill. Next time when I go to my constituents and I want to seek re-election, they will bring a book and say, you know, on this you voted this, on this you voted this, on this you voted this. Because of this, we will deny you a party ticket. Or because of that, we will vote you out. But a party should not muzzle the conscience of members. It should not. Yes. And therefore, I want to tell ODM that they need to style up within the 21st century. They are still beholden by our politics of the age-old strongmanship.
All right, let's leave it at that. Yeah. Because of time as well. Yes. Then we get your headline thoughts. Briefly.
Yes.
Your headline thoughts?
Yes. If you can't beat them, join them. Yes. Simple. And I'm happy that we are still getting more members, we're still getting more numbers. And what is happening with the ODM side is actually very sad, because these are some of our colleagues, and like one of colleagues, Senator Senior Counsel Tom Ogenda, when he even introduces himself, he still says, I'm a member of ODM. I was just listening to Dr. Kidero and says, I'm still a member of ODM. They have members, but they subject their members to so much imprisonment, whereby somebody, you cannot be free consciously to be able to undertake your own mandate. A case example which is very good is for Passaris. Passaris' leadership is for the capital city. It is Nairobi. The issues that are there in Nairobi are very different when you go to the other a bit remote area. This is the city. So he cannot be always trying to not look at the bigger picture of her people. But now, out of that, then you are subjected to that. Then what is going to happen? They are keeping on losing more members. And then what do they start saying? They start saying that we are stealing their members. They're the ones who are always chasing their members. But what we say, we are open arms. We are welcoming them to be able to soldier on the manifesto of the government, because they've been able to look at the positivity and they want to be part of the positives of the government.
Thank you. We need to wind up. Dr. Nikal, briefly, your headline thoughts?
Mine is simple. Demonstrations are in the Constitution. The police should not use them to brutalize the citizens. They should, the government should actually rein in the police, and I think we should even have a commission of inquiry on how they have behaved this. Now we have taken this vigil in respect of the people. I think there should be, as they are saying, we are very clear on what should be done. And what the Kenya Kwanza should do is all those issues that we are addressing, let them got a team that can look at the issues we have been saying in terms of economy and get and remove the issues that make the cost of living high.
Thank you.
That is the best way. And finally, on party discipline, it is not possible for somebody who is not a member of a party, who is not sitting, to sit here and also Buhari say and predict that he knows what is going to happen. That makes everything else he has said unbelievable.
I think we wind up on that particular note. Briefly.
I want to say this. If you look at page 7 of the Financial Standard today, it says food prices start coming down as harvesting begins.
Yes.
Food prices start coming down as harvesting begins. William Ruto was not wrong about his economics. That the moment we embark, all of us as a country, in production, and we go out there and do the right things in terms of production, the prices, the high cost of living in this country will come down. And I am happy that the Standard, in whose house we are today, has actually said, and very good journalism, food prices start coming down. I want to tell Kenyans that if we embark on productivity, going to our farms, using the right fertilizers, using the right seed, this country will have the prices of commodities going down. Being an agricultural country, when food prices and agricultural produce starts going down, we will have bumper harvest, we will fuel our factories in terms of produce, we will produce more, we will employ more people, and we'll have more taxes, and the next finance bill, will actually attest that we have moved, because we will not have the kind of finance bill that we have right now. We'll have a finance bill that will actually not levy.
Right, my bell has told right now we need to
stop. We'll not have the kind of finance bill we have now.
And you, Owen, will really latch on this as well. Thank you very much, Tabitha. I really appreciate you coming through this morning. Also, Dr. James Chikal as well. And Owen Bai, really appreciate your input this morning. Dan Mazo, of course, we shall be standing with him in solidarity in courts today, as he is going to seek... of course, also, is it a bond? He's not been arrested yet, yeah? I think is it a restraining order or something? I don't know. Thank you very much for your valued company. News Diary is up next.